Hi there, and welcome to our Friday episode, which is mining the comments. In today's episode, we have a very thoughtful, insightful, inspirational comment from Basia Barbara. I hope I say that correctly, that we will jump into without any further ado. Let's take a look at it. This is a comment actually on Monday's Insomnia Insight episode, which was the one with the thumbnail that just said OCD, insomnia, panic. And I saw this yesterday. I saw the comment yesterday. And I was like, oh, this is something we have to bring up in our mining the comments, because this is like exactly what mining the comments was all about, like finding those insightful nuggets of gold in the comments. So yeah, so let's read this together. Basia says, hi Daniel, thank you for another video. In my opinion, you brought up a very important topic here. In my personal journey of recovery, I discovered so many things about myself, sleep itself, and how complex and amazing we are as human beings. Nevertheless, over the years of the recovery process, I found that insomnia is only a symptom. Of course, if somebody told me this a few years ago, I would be very confused because I was in a completely different stage of my recovery. And actually, just to quick pause there and to just emphasize, what we mean when we say symptom. What is the symptom? Well, symptom is just kind of like one sign of something else that is actually the underlying thing, right? So, for example, we don't say like, oh, I'm staying home from work today because I have a fever. Maybe we would, but typically we don't. We don't say that. We say, I'm home because I have a cold. And we know that when we have a cold, that can manifest as fever, sore throat, body aches, nausea, headache, you name it. There can be many symptoms of what we call a cold. And actually, let's just keep that in mind as we continue reading this comment from Basia. So Basia just said, if somebody told me this a few years ago, I would be very confused because I was in a completely different stage of my recovery. But now it makes complete sense to me and gave so much relief. In addition, the symptom can become a habit. What I mean by this is that the root cause of insomnia is fear. And fear is our protective mechanism. And as in my case, I needed to protect myself very often through childhood trauma, environment, bad life experience, etc. I became very attached to fear. In other words, Basia is saying here that I'm going to say she. I hope that's not the wrong pronoun, but that she found, she identified fear as being something actually helpful, something that was beneficial, right? So she's saying I became very attached to fear, and anxiety became a ruler of my life. So when I experienced a few bad nights of sleep 7 years ago, my brain started to react to it as a threat right away. And the fear wanted to protect me from not sleeping. And here's sort of a silly smiling emoji, which when I see that, it's there because like fear wanted to protect me from not sleeping. Well, fear actually keeps us awake. So there's sort of an irony there. And then she says, and that's how the vicious circle started, which is so natural given that irony we just talked about. So the fear can take so many different forms: panic attacks, OCD, phobia, etc. And it can be attached to many different behaviors, as you described, as things. And this to me is where, that little mini discussion we had about like symptoms comes into place. Like if we are scared, that can present itself in so many different ways. It can present itself as insomnia, as OCD, as panic attacks, social phobia, you name it, and experience this, heart racing, palpitations, breathing fast, racing thoughts. It can manifest itself in so many different ways. So I think it was really spot on to think of it as like symptoms, or I like to call it like surface of manifestations. The deeper thing is in depth we have the fear, but at the surface we can experience only the palpitations, for example, or only like being awake at night or something like that. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading this comment from Basia. And sleep is one of them. I still don't have the answer to why some people with anxiety disorders are struggling with sleep, but others don't. I can say that in my case, it's a mixture of genetic predisposition, personality, trauma, etc. However, the key is simple: do not fear. But it takes time, hard work, speed bumps, and courage to get there. Thanks again for what you're doing here, and I wish everyone, including myself, to find safety and peace so you know that you have nothing to be afraid of and you don't have problems with sleep. I'll say thank you so much for sharing this, Basia. It was a wonderful comment. And as for the question there of why is it that some people who struggle with anxiety sleep fine, and for some, insomnia becomes part of the anxiety struggle. Yeah, at some point it's always a mystery. We don't know exactly why, but to me, I think of this as like, just again, different, the fear can focus on different things. For some people, the focus of the fear becomes like some thoughts like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this. Why am I thinking this? I have to stop thinking this. And then we have more of like a OCD type experience of fear. Or for some of us, it becomes like this intense moments of fear of some undefined catastrophic event. Then we have experience panic attacks. But if sleep really didn't become part of the radar, then we may not have that insomnia struggle there. So many insights from Basia here. The insight that the struggle with sleep is just a surface manifestation of fear, that when we have identified fear as something that we need to have, then it can seem like, why would we want to not have fear, right? Fear is something that's there to help us. We should have some level of alertness there, and letting go of that can feel like unfamiliar, something like that. And many other insights here. I hope you found this helpful and insightful. And with that said, I will say that I wish you a wonderful weekend. And if you're finding, through our content here, that you're leaving the struggle, things are getting easier for you, that is wonderful. And please share it. If, on the other hand, it is still a struggle, you're not really finding your way or seeing how the dots are connected, or you're not finding that you have somebody to talk to connect with, that really understands you and can offer you some meaningful education and guidance, then do head over to our website, thesleepcoachschool.com, and you can check out our coaching options. And if you find something that you think is going to be helpful for you and you decide to join, then we look forward to seeing you on the other side. With that said, I again wish you a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you back here soon, and